Konnichiwa, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another episode of Going In Deep, broadcast from Uranus. My name is Zakk. I am wearing black, and I am back at the podcast. Joined with me are my co-hosts, Mike and Xander Kozak.
Hey, Zakk. Great to have you back here.
Oh my god, he's here.
He's alive.
I love you. I missed you.
Oh my goodness.
Survived my travels.
I'm so happy to hear it. So, if you're still wondering what the hell this is, every week Going In Deep we'll be doing a podcast here at Mill Iron Studios in New York City, where we will be breaking down and discussing sci-fi, comic books, superhero, horror, fantasy, and other movies that are eligible for the Uranus Awards. The awards will be live streamed right here in Mill Iron Studios in New York City on January 14th, 2018. And please support this channel by going to Indiegogo or Patreon and giving us your hard-earned money so that we can do much better.
Or your sofa change. We'll take your sofa change.
Your sofa change, your children you don't want anymore, whatever. We'll find a way. We'll make it work.
We have any shout-outs this week?
I do not believe so. And Mike?
Well, we can give some shout out to our beloved fans. They love us so much. They're listening every week.
The Uranals. I'm really pulling for that name.
I think we'll work on that.
We'll table that and forget about it. And guys, next week our dear Max will be back, and we will have a 4-man team for the first time.
The Fantastic Four, copyright pending.
Yes. So make sure you join us for Max's triumphant return as we talk about the movie Split. But for now, we have got 4 films to discuss today that all come from Japanese origins. We've got Ghost in the Shell, The Power Rangers, Transformers The Last Night, and Death Note.
So let's get kicking with Ghost in the Shell. So
big episode here.
We're going to go back to an old one, but a good one. Mike, what was the story of Ghost in the Shell?
Oh, yes. All eyes on me.
All eyes right on you, buddy.
Ghost in the Shell is about a beautiful young lady, and she wakes up one day to discover that she doesn't really feel right. In fact, she's a robot. And
a robot? I thought you were the robot.
And she's gotta find and figure out this conspiracy that's going on, because things are afoot. Cyborgs, and there's tanks, spider tanks, and it's dangerous stuff.
What does she do? What is her job?
Her job is Section 9, which is I couldn't really tell from this movie, but it's sort of a secret, like, government organization, but they're kind of like police, too.
So, here's the thing. Let's just pause for a minute. All 4 of these movies, right, come from some sort of Japanese-inspired inspiration, whether it's anime or whatever. So, let's get a little bit into this. What is your background knowledge of these properties? And the only reason I'm asking is because I definitely think this will affect how we each saw it.
Agreed, definitely.
Well, don't quote me on when the first movie came out.
Mid-90s.
But mid-90s? Okay. Yeah. The first Ghost in the Shell movie. Amazing, beautiful, and really gets into some deep psychological and philosophical questions about what it is to be human, what a robot is, what is an AI, and how do they think.
Yeah.
So it's basically Asian Blade Runner.
Yeah,
it's got Blade Runner elements in it there. I'm a huge fan of this movie. It's one of those weird movies where the English voice cast is inferior to the Japanese voice cast, but the English script is better, and the Japanese script is worse than the English script. It's a very strange situation. I usually prefer to watch this movie in English, which is rare for me because I usually go for the Japanese dub. But the script is a lot better in English.
So prior to going into this movie, right, I had only seen the original anime movie. I never watched the show.
Right.
Standalone complex.
Yeah.
Any of them. I think there's 2 or 3, right?
Although a lot of people say the show was not as good as the movie.
It wasn't, but it had its merits.
Excuse me, I loved it. It's so good.
It's great. It's just, it's very hard to top something so iconic and something so incredibly... It came out of nowhere, this Ghost in the Shell movie. And it's done a lot for anime since then.
If you don't mind my saying, I think it's kind of like if you're trying to follow, like, Akira or something.
Sure.
With like a series.
Sure.
Not that you're gonna top it, but you know,
That's eventually coming, by the way.
the American one.
The,
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
Akira
So
live action.
as with a lot of movies, I thought this was okay. It wasn't terrible. You know, it had great CGI. Scarlett Johansson's a great actress. One thing I really did like is this is an American film based on Japanese property, and I felt like they had a really good blend of Western and Eastern kind of ideas, you know? Without getting into spoilers yet, the police captain was one of my favorite characters. I mean, he was just an all-around kind of badass.
So, would you like to just lead straight into anything you specifically liked, disliked, non-spoilers? Like anything that stands out to you?
I mean, really just the practical effects, you know what I mean? I don't think it's a spoiler because it's in the trailers, but those the geisha robots that turn into like the spider-like things.
Very
I thought
well
that was,
done.
That was a really cool concept, and it looked legit, you know?
Yeah.
It looked really good.
For me, at least, what this movie really did well, that like I did not like at all, going back to like the Dark Tower, how it did zero world building. This one did like way more and lets you get like really into what's going on, what the world's like, and they do like even some nice relationship building between Motoko, the major, and Bato.
Yeah, well, before the name Motoko comes up, they call her Mira.
Mira.
Yeah.
So Xander, anything that you especially enjoyed? Non-spoilers.
I'll straight up say I did not like this movie.
Aw.
I did not like it at all. I did give it a couple of awards. You know, I gave it credit where credit was due, but I was not happy with how they handled things. Like, cause I'm not gonna say this is a fact, but I'm pretty sure this is true. They cast Scarlett Johansson in the movie before a script was written. And you know, the moment she was cast, there was whitewashing outcry, and
Oh my god, there's gonna be whitewashing outcry for any film.
And I don't care that much that she was cast in this role per se. If they handled it better than the way they did, we're gonna get into why it doesn't work in the spoiler section. But the way they chose to react to the whitewashing outcry is both lazy, cruel, and completely stupid.
You want to fill us in on that?
Should we get into spoilers?
I mean,
I don't think there's any way to talk about it without getting into spoilers.
I mean, if to say non-spoiler things like why else this didn't work as a movie, I just felt bored mostly. I felt it was boring. I felt it was lazy. I felt it was confusing at certain points. Like this doesn't spoil any of the story, but clearly this is in Tokyo. This is in Japan, and I'm fine if you don't want to have the whole movie be in the Japanese language. I get that. I didn't expect that. But in a lot of situations where we have our main characters acting in a different country, they at least speak the native language to the people who
isn't part of the whole premise of the Ghost in the Shell world that it's in the future and all the countries are much more integrated together? So why does it matter if, you know, Section 9 has, you know, 2 Caucasian officers?
I don't remember that in the movie, but like I'm referring specifically to the scenes with Scarlett Johansson and Takeshi Kitano, who, if you noticed, he didn't speak any English at all in the movie. Scarlett Johansson spoke English to him, and he spoke back to her in Japanese. So they clearly both speak both languages. Why couldn't at least why couldn't she pick Japanese? Why couldn't she speak to him in Japanese? He's the commanding officer. She should respect him by speaking his language.
Because Scarlett Johansson doesn't speak Japanese.
She's an actress. She has spoken multiple languages in multiple films. She spoke Russian in The Avengers. She could learn 4 lines in Japanese for this movie.
Well, the way I interpreted that was that at least everybody is, for the most part, enhanced in some way, so they can learn a language without necessarily... They may not necessarily speak it, but they understand it, like, fluently.
Right.
And then they can speak to each other, like, despite the
in
fact
whatever language they're comfortable with.
Exactly.
I'm just saying, if she wanted to speak English for the rest of this movie, That's fine, but in the scenes with Takeshi Kitano, I wanted her to speak Japanese to him. That's like A, a sign of respect, and B, it makes fucking sense because she works in Japan. Then there's you've seen Amadeus?
No.
No, okay. Amadeus is about Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, obviously.
Really?
None of those people.
You don't say.
It was always there in the title. None of those people should speak English, of course, but the only reason they are speaking English is because, as an audience member, we're supposed to interpret the story as it's going on, and English is how we're sort of seeing that story unfold. I assumed in their reality they're speaking their own language. It's just that for us it's English. That's not really what's going on here, at least not for those scenes. And that part I wish they'd let her speak Japanese a little bit.
I do appreciate though that he only spoke Japanese. Yeah. Like despite
He's
like
awesome.
I think that was just kind of a nice nod to the source material,
Mm-hmm.
but realistically, as far as progressing the plot, it didn't really matter. He could have spoken English to her, since it's an American movie production, and it wouldn't have affected the plot.
So how does she actually kind of like get into this relationship with? I think his character is Aramaki, the captain.
Mm-hmm.
So
That's her boss.
yeah,
You know, she's
That's that relationship.
She's a cyber cop. Should we just get into spoilers? It's probably easier.
I think
that
we
way.
should get into spoilers.
Okay, Ghost in the Shell spoilers start right now. So, spoilers. Was that nice? Did you enjoy that?
I did not enjoy that.
So here's how they chose to handle the whole whitewashing thing. So Scarlett Johansson gets the job, then they write the script. Turns out Major
Hold on,
Mira...
do you know this for a fact?
I don't, but I'm going to say it because it sounds like what happened. You know, based on what they did, it sounds like what happened. So until I'm proven wrong, which I may very well be, I'm gonna say that's it, just to help out my argument here. Major Mira is actually a 12-year-old Japanese girl named Motoko, and Motoko was killed, and her brain was put inside of a cyborg body, which they turned into a pretty white girl. And
the Major is supposed to be very attractive.
it doesn't freaking matter if she's
No,
attractive.
it doesn't. But
That's how they chose to react to the whole whitewashing thing. She was Japanese all along. I don't know why they chose to make her in the context of the story, it doesn't make sense to me. I don't know why they chose to make her a white woman, or why couldn't they just make her a different Japanese girl?
well, Scarlett Johansson's been, and she still is a huge pick in Hollywood
Yeah, I'm not
for
talking
these
about
like large
Scarlett,
roles.
though. I'm talking about in the context of the Ghost in the Shell story. Why would these people make her a pretty white girl?
They another thing was that they might not have wanted people to guess at her origin story or like what was going on with her, so physically change completely what the character is supposed to look like.
Let
so
me
you
ask
can't
you
guess.
this question: why did it matter? Like, why would it matter if they put her in Rosario Dawson's body? Again, this is a world that has multiple white characters and multiple Asian characters. It's not, we have this Japanese society that, you know, is 100 years ago where, you know, Caucasian people are rare. It was a pretty fair amount of diversity in the film, you know?
And
The fact that they wanted to get a top-billed actor or actress who plays in lead action roles, I don't think that's wrong. They could have cast someone of any color and it shouldn't have mattered. That shouldn't be a factor on what skin color they cast the lead role in.
Again, I'm not talking about outside the movie. I'm talking about within the context of the story. Like, why did these people choose to make her a pretty white girl? Like,
Maybe that's what was laying around.
maybe the
no,
benefactors didn't
It wasn't
want
laying around. They
her to know.
made that. They made her skin and hair and face.
You'd have to ask the villain, who is, by the way,
The white guy.
the white guy. Yeah. What's his character? Cutter?
It's
Mr. Cutter?
I can't even remember. It's,
Something like that.
The movie leads you to believe that it's Michael Pitt, who, for some reason, in this movie, he's going by Michael Carmen Pitt for the first time, which sent a weird shiver down my spine. He's he's like a Frankenstein's monster amalgamation of cyborg parts that has been wronged, and
That was pretty cool.
It's kind of like a cyber
I like
terrorist or so.
I liked how his face was all glitchy and you couldn't see him for like the first few scenes.
Yeah.
That was like a good touch there.
So overall, what'd you guys give this film?
Like star rating.
Yeah.
I gave it a full star. I did give it some awards.
Oh, full
to be
star.
fair. 1 full star out of 5.
I give it a 3, and a 3 for me means that it wasn't an amazing movie, but it wasn't terrible. It was just a movie.
I'd say maybe like a 3.5.
So
I enjoyed it.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah, I mean, I was like nightly watching on Adult
Here's
Swim,
the thing
Standalone
is-
Complex.
I enjoyed watching this, but if I want to watch another Android movie, I'm going back to Blade Runner.
Sure.
I just like the whole theme in general. Like, I'm really into that cyberpunk shit. And like I said, like they did way better world building than like say the Dark Tower, which is a much bigger.
Let me get a little broad
franchise.
here. Do you want to see more of these kind of cyberpunk movies? I mean, Blade
yeah.
Runner. I mean, I keep bringing up Blade Runner because
Well, it's about to
you
come
bring
out,
up
too.
Well,
Yeah,
it's about to come out, but you bring up world building, and
Yeah.
that world just looked like a Blade Runner ripoff. With the giant billboard ads and the holographic.
That's not Blade
know,
Runner.
Blade Runner
ripoff,
did
though.
inspire a lot of things, including Ghost in the Shell, the original movie.
And
I
Blade Runner was
definitely
inspired
believe
by other people too.
Isaac
You want to go as
Asimov.
far back as like Metropolis, which was made in like
True.
the 50s.
No, that was made in 1920.
Oh my god!
1927.
See, even further back, it's crazy.
Yeah, that was actually what I would have picked for the very first winner of Best Picture, Metropolis. Love that movie.
It was really good.
Nominations.
Best CGI or believable CGI, that's for sure. I was very much into the visuals. Soundtrack was also very good. They brought back that kind of like kind of noise that they make, but it's very classical for Ghost in the Shell.
So I'm going to give it a couple of words that are really out there. Actor in a supporting role, I really liked Bato. I thought he was great.
Yeah.
He didn't do very much.
I thought he was great.
He
suffered a loss and took it like a champ.
I think he should have had his eye thing from the beginning.
I really like. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because in the original anime, he has this eye modification, and just the whole time it's sort of just accepted that he has that, but we sort of have to wait for him to get that, and it doesn't amount to much after he does.
I'm going to throw a couple else out there, too, that I don't think it would win, but it deserves a nomination. I'm going to say Most Complex Villain. The villain was pretty good. Again, I don't think it'll win, but it deserves to be up there and brought to attention. And the best fight sequence, I really liked how they adapted straight from the anime, that whole fight on the water with the chameleon suit, where she's invisible and you just see the feet running and then she just appears out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You know?
They did. It made more sense in the old one, though.
Also, I don't know if it counts as best trailer, but I really did appreciate. I don't know if you guys remember, but going to the movies and randomly in between trailers, they would show like a fraction of a second of the trailer in between trailers. Almost like the trailers were glitching out or something. I really appreciated that. It was some really good campaigning for the movie.
Well, there you go.
Oh, most memorable moment for me, definitely when she's like ripping the top of the tank off. Like, again, adapted straight from the original.
Her arms are like pulling off.
Yeah, and like all her muscles are like popping out, and she like is ripping herself apart to get at the tank. Very cool.
So I think it's a pretty good movie then.
I gave it 2 nominations. I gave it Most Rockin' Music. I thought that was really well done. I like that. And I'm giving it Best Slow Motion Moment. The iconic building jump. Which
yeah.
was
She
a shot,
crashes through the glass and runs on the walls.
Which was such a cool thing to watch in the anime because she jumps off the building and then she goes into her camouflage and then she infiltrates the building and kicks ass. And they, up until she got into the building where the confusing shit started happening, they got that scene pretty well done. So I liked that a lot.
All right, so I guess we're moving on to Power Rangers.
Yay, Power Rangers.
So
Get a
I guess
guitar
before we
riff
start
in here.
talking about our likes and dislikes,
Okay.
I just have one question.
What's up?
Mike, what was the story?
Oh my god.
Mike did Ghost in the Shell's recap.
Mike does all the stories. Mike, what was the story? Mike,
turns.
what was the story?
No, we're taking
Mike,
turns.
Listeners, please, if you could just take for a moment and try to imagine Zakk just like turning and looking at me when he says that.
Listen, if I get 1,000 comments on social media saying someone other than Mike should explain the story of every movie, Mike's still going to do the story of every movie.
You don't have social
Did
media.
that not happen already? I'm getting emailed daily, minutely, hourly.
You don't have.
Tell them they're
social media.
SOL.
Let's go over.
Fine, you're doing Transformers.
Okay, let's talk about
Good luck.
Power Rangers for a moment. And I mean, it's Power Rangers. There's not a whole lot I can really say. Group of teenagers.
What is Power Rangers? I've never heard of that. What's that about?
The Super Sentai. I mean, the Power Rangers. It's a group of troubled teenagers brought together by their angst and troubledness.
So it's like the Breakfast Club.
Yeah, kind of.
They do.
They're even in detention and everything.
They do that, yeah.
They get into trouble, and then they get into more trouble than together, and then they find the power coins and become the Power Rangers. Classic superhero origin story.
Right.
And then big bad monster. But let's get to the finer details of that. Shall we start from the beginning with like that sweet truck scene?
No, I just want to hear you talk about this movie's plot over and over again.
Minute by minute.
Well, first, just general feelings. What did you guys think of the Power Rangers?
I was weirdly surprised by it. I mean, I was a huge Power Rangers kid growing up. I mean, who wasn't?
Were you, Mike?
Oh, yeah.
But I expected this to be another movie that just molested my childhood, and it was not.
Yeah,
I actually gave this a full 5 stars.
I was
Really?
fanboying so
It's a
hard.
perfect movie.
I think this was one of the best movies of the year. It was one of the most enjoyable movies this year. Every movie has its faults, but for what it was, it far exceeded my expectations.
Like going to see it opening night with like people dressed up as the Power Rangers, people cheering to like
I
It was
remember when
it was
they did
funny,
that.
it was dramatic, it had great action. What is there to not like?
I just wanted to quickly comment. I actually remember people doing that when the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers movie came out.
Oh my God.
In the 90s. I was there. I saw that in theaters. when
That's
I was a kid, and
amazing.
I myself was dressed up as the Green Ranger, which doesn't appear in the movie, but I was the fucking Green Ranger anyway because that was my jam.
It has troubled lesbians doing mountain yoga for some reason.
The filmmakers they openly said that Trini's character is bisexual.
I don't know if that's important, but
I get
they can
things straight.
they could say that, but like at least within the context of the movie,
no,
like it doesn't matter.
all jokes aside, one thing I really did love about this movie was how diverse it was, and it expanded far beyond like, hey, let's get everyone of every race. But the fact, would be getting into spoilers if we talk about Billy.
Yeah, it would.
Yeah.
It would.
Okay, I'll
'Cause they-
save that for later.
That's
but
not in the trailer.
Billy was by far my favorite character.
He was good.
Yeah. I'm gonna say just straight up that I did like this movie. I
Even
really
Alpha
did.
5. Do you remember when we first
Alpha.
saw the pictures of Alpha 5 and we were like, this
What
looks
the
like
hell?
Alpha 5 on methamphetamine?
Yeah, what the hell is that?
Yeah, I was like, what the fuck?
But he was actually like enjoyable in the movie. Like he
I
was
got
fun.
less
He was
worried
funny.
when they announced that it was Bill Hader.
I wasn't worried about Bill Hader playing Alpha 5. I just thought it was an odd pick. And then actually seeing his character like come out of like the dark tunnel and scaring all of them, I was like, oh, okay, this is gonna work.
All right, so spoilers.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's do it.
Spoiler
into it.
section for Power Rangers.
I mean, how can you really spoil Power Rangers though? Big monster shows up, they gotta beat it.
Yeah, pretty much at the Krispy Kreme.
It's like spoiling Godzilla. Well, what's happening? Why are there earthquakes? Why are buildings getting knocked down?
So I guess the spoiler about Billy is he's autistic, but he was by far the best character in the whole movie.
He did really well, and they made that character really well, I think.
That's kind of the thing about all 5 of them though, is I don't think there was a one that I didn't like.
Sure. Yeah, I love the old Mighty Morphin series. I always will. I've watched episodes of it recently and still find myself enjoying it. But like, I fully understand what it is. Like, those 5 teenagers are way too freaking accomplished, and they are way too happy about everything. These particular Power Ranger characters are so much more relatable and complex and interesting than the old.
See, that's kind of another thing it did well too. Is
yeah.
I feel like kids that like the Power Rangers movie would like this, but also adults that grew up watching the Power Rangers would like this.
Yeah, they're still showing Power Rangers like every Saturday morning.
When did
or
the
something.
original show come out? Like 1993?
The first season of Mighty Morphin was 1992, I think.
Okay, still, that puts people
Yeah.
almost 25 years old, and
Yeah.
they would still enjoy this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I started with Mighty Morphin, even though I think Turbo was the series that came on when I was old enough to actually understand the show.
Yeah, I mean, we're just a bunch of man children talking about Power Rangers. It's cool.
Absolutely. Proudly.
So Zordon is different than the old show. What did you guys think of Zordon and Bryan Cranston as Zordon?
Bryan Cranston, what's not to like?
Bryan Cranston was good. I thought, as far as like the details go of like being in the ship and stuff, I thought that was. I mean, that's fine. I would have preferred them to have like a home base or something, but that's just my personal.
The home base being a
thoughts.
ship, though, was fine. Like, it worked.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a little complicated how they got into it, but
I thought like him being a giant supermassive head inside of a wall was actually really cool to see. Like the effects on that.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
I would have liked a little more detail though in his face. I thought we didn't get a nice enough picture of like his character when he's in the wall.
okay.
You know, like it's kind of like weirdly digital / like popping out a bit.
I still think it's a tragedy we're not going to get a sequel.
I mean, we might
What do you mean?
not.
They put an Easter egg in the credits.
They put an Easter egg, but the box office wasn't good enough. They said it's probably not. Their only hope is if the home media sales are good enough. And thanks to torrenting, those will not be good enough.
Go out and buy steel boxes
I don't know.
right
I
now.
think maybe the fan reception might be enough. Who knows? I mean, Power Rangers is a huge thing. So
I think we'll wait another 10 years and get another reboot.
it could, yeah, maybe, but I would love to see a sequel to this. I had fun.
I
will
would
say,
too. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I will say it took the movie way too long to Power Ranger. They spent way too long getting ready and training and getting into the suits.
But it was an origin story.
It took too long to get to the point that we needed. You know, I was hoping they would get Power Rangered up halfway and start doing things.
True.
You know, like
I
not just
agree with that.
Get Power Rangered and then immediately go into the final battle. You know,
But we get to know them a little bit more.
we do, and I appreciate that. But
We get to watch
could've-
them bond. What's more magical than that?
We could have done that while also getting to the freaking point. I'm not gonna nitpick all the stupid little tiny things like the thing with his ankle bracelet, because the leader Jason was under house arrest the whole movie and he has to wear an ankle monitor bracelet, and they did weird shit with that. Because the character work was good enough for me to just suspend my disbelief and ignore some of the weirder things. I also really liked the Jason David Frank cameo. He played Tommy in the original Mighty Morphin.
They had the Pink Ranger with him, too.
I feel bad for forgetting her name because she was my first big
Nobody
crush.
cares.
She was my first big crush. I feel bad.
Everybody loved the Pink Ranger.
Yeah, she was great, and she was in the movie too for a little tiny role. Did you guys like Elizabeth Banks as Rita?
I think it was. I thought it was nice to see her do something different.
Yeah,
But
because she's a hilarious and very talented actress.
it honestly kind of seemed like a role that really anyone else could play.
Sure.
I don't think there was anything like special about Elizabeth Banks being cast in the role.
Yeah.
But fun fact, she's my top choice to play a Sue Storm in a Fantastic Four movie.
Oh, totally.
She would be a great like mom type, you know.
Yeah.
She'd be great.
I can see that.
Yeah, she's awesome.
I like the little fan theories that she's the Green Ranger. Well, I guess she technically basically
That wasn't a
is
fan theory. They confirmed that.
She had the green coin though. She was the original Green Ranger.
Yeah.
Back when Bryan Cranston as Zordon was the.
I
Red
think they
Ranger.
even have online. There's like concept art of what her helmet would have looked like that they were gonna add in the movie, but decided not to.
I saw one. I think it was just somebody photoshopped one of the regular Rangers though to be green or something.
Fans were also speculating that in the second movie, the Tommy Oliver character could actually be a girl
Which is, who names a girl Tommy though?
That's some
the only
wishful
thing.
PC thinking.
We've got that Nazi Barbie, Tommy Laren. That's close.
Nazi Barbie?
Yeah, you know the girl who calls everybody snowflakes.
What?
The fuck are you talking about?
She's this tiny little blonde girl, and she's super conservative, and she had a talk show for a while called I think The Blaze, which was part of Glenn Beck's production company. It was just this conservative talk show where she would just, her thing was getting really fiery and really angry, talking about how terrible liberals are and how amazing Donald Trump is and stuff.
So speaking of Nazis, let's use that as a transition to talk about our next movie.
Wait.
Wait. We gotta
But I want to
do
find
nominations.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm jumping the gun. I saw an opportunity and I took it a little too soon.
But who
okay.
did Glenn Beck play in this movie? I thought, with Power Rangers.
Glenn Beck, he played the same person he
Played
plays
Zordon.
every time. He played a fat audience member who eats donuts and hates liberals.
Wait, what would you change about this movie?
What would I change? The Goldar thing, maybe.
The faceless Goldar.
Yeah, I didn't actually expect them to use Goldar.
I think the one thing I would change about this movie was the in-your-face product placement. If they said Krispy Kreme one more, we get it.
Oh my.
We get it. The donut company paid a lot of money to have their name said.
I would have liked a better transform scene for the Megazord.
Oh, sure.
They kind of disappear for a minute and then come back.
I remember what I wanted to discuss. The freaking Megazords. 4 of them looked great. What the hell was up with the Mastodon?
That had like Transformer syndrome.
It looked like a beetle. What was up with that?
It had the Transformers like alien styling where it's like, we're trying to make this like an Earth thing, but this is clearly like an alien thing. Kind of like Megatron. He was a tank in the first movie, but he was kind of like
Jet in the first movie.
Was he a tank or?
He was both actually.
He never turned into a tank.
I'm pretty sure he was a tank.
I guarantee it.
I thought that Mastodon looked so weird and I was upset.
It did. It had like 6 legs and was strange.
Nominations. What do you guys think?
Best Picture.
Really?
Yeah, but that's just I'm having fun with it. That's not like, whatever. I thought the cool. Well, I mean, we have to give it coolest costumes.
Sure.
Like,
that's kind of a guarantee.
come on, Halo like super armor is pretty BA.
Yeah, the armor was really cool to look at.
I don't know if I want to say actor in a supporting role or actor in a lead role, because I guess you kind of have 5 leads in this movie.
Yes, sort of.
But
that's a tough one, actually.
Putting Jason as the leader, that makes him like the lead, I guess.
I think they all kind of had equal screen time, more or less. But Billy should get an award.
Yeah, I nominated R.J. Kyler as Billy too, but I put him as supporting.
Supporting it is then.
Yeah. I love that actor, by the way. I knew him before this movie, from this movie called Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, which was a beautiful film, and he was amazing in it. I actually wanted him to get an Oscar nomination for that film. So I'm excited to see where he goes from here.
Most rockin' music.
Mm-hmm.
Come on.
Yeah.
That guitar riff.
Of course. I don't know. It has to compete with the guitar riff for Wonder Woman.
How about
Yeah.
what's this? The surprise hit of the year, the Underdog Award.
Okay, yeah.
I was not expecting it to be as good as it was.
No, I mean, again, I was expecting it to be a train wreck.
Yeah, the trailers did not do it for me. I thought, ugh.
When they first announced they were going to make a grounded, more adult-oriented Power Rangers movie, I said, why? Then I saw the trailer and I was like, this looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, see, the trailer didn't do it for me. The movie did.
Well, I mean, Mike and I shared the magical experience of seeing the trailer unveil at Comic-Con, so
Right.
that was, I guess, made us pretty biased.
That's okay. Anything else from you, Zakk?
I don't think so.
Okay. Yeah, costumes, rock and music, surprise hit of the year. Best Easter egg was the Jason David Frank and Kimberly cameos there. I thought that was awesome.
Very nice touch.
CGI, loved the CGI in the movie.
Oh yeah, CGI.
The Megazord at the end I thought actually looked really cool, in spite of the fact that it didn't look like it had any of the pieces of the 5 on it. I just thought it was a cool looking kind of Transformer thing. R.J. Kyler as Billy Cranston. I also gave Best Supporting Actress to Becky G.
R.J. Kyler as Billy Cranston.
Yeah.
Is his last name really Cranston?
Billy's last name is Cranston, yeah.
Oh, that's right. I forgot
That's
about that.
funny.
Yeah, and Best Supporting Actress I gave to Becky G, who played Trini.
You got 2 Best Supporting.
Yeah,
Huh?
I was blown away by her earlier last year when she appeared on season 2 of Empire. I thought she was just this fierce, raw, awesome talent, and I really wanted to see her do more stuff. She's also a singer, but then she got cast in this movie, and I thought, oh, that's going to be awesome. And I really love what she did. You know, they didn't give her that much compared to the other 4, but they planted the seed for something that would be really great in the sequels, I think, and
That we'll never get.
I still have hope.
Just buy more toys and DVDs, guys.
You should put that hope next to your reasons to live.
And I'm giving this one a 3.5 stars.
I give it a full 5.
I have to give it a 5. I have to give it a 5. I mean, there's a few small shortcomings to the movie, maybe like pacing and like, it does take a while for them to get like powered up. But for me, I was just fanboying so hard.
Perfect 5 is really rare for me. Only 10 movies ever have gotten a perfect 5.
All right, so
moving on to Transformers: The Last Night.
Spoilers. This is going to definitely take Best Movie of the Year.
Oh my
No
goodness.
question about it.
So I watched this movie yesterday, and I still have no idea what the hell it's about.
This is one of only 2 movies this year that I literally got up and walked out of the theater because I just could not take it.
It's bad.
Yeah.
So
This
I'm gonna take this one if you don't mind. I'm gonna do my very, very best to explain.
I think you're the only person that can.
yeah.
Yeah, 'cause you guys didn't finish it.
I couldn't.
Yeah.
I
couldn't.
Look, I don't blame you. And by the way, I watched Age of Extinction right before it because I didn't see that one in theaters.
Listen, through all the vomiting, I couldn't get
'Cause-
my head onto the screen there.
I needed to know like what Mark Wahlberg, like where he came from, to see if that would help. So it's established.
Did it help?
No,
Did I tell you to skip number 4?
I can't do.
Did I tell you to skip number 4?
I can't.
But did
skip
I tell you
this.
to?
You did. I can't do it though.
Could you have in retrospect?
No, I couldn't have.
He's a glutton for
Not me because I have OCD with that shit. It's been established that the Transformers have been around for friggin' ever. So the movie starts off with a flashback to King Arthur fighting a battle and talking to Lancelot and Gabriel about Merlin. And we see Merlin played by Stanley Tucci, which confused the fuck out of me at first because Stanley Tucci plays an inventor billionaire in the 4th movie. And I thought, okay, maybe they cast him as Merlin in this movie because he's going to play like Merlin's heir or something later in the movie. But no, he's just Merlin, and he plays him like a freaking clown. He plays him like a drunk, silly clown, and it's dumb. And apparently Merlin has knowledge of the Transformers, and nobody else does. So he goes to a crashed Transformer spaceship and talks to one of them about how Arthur's failing and the battle needs to be won. And so he gives Merlin a staff, which is a Cybertron artifact that's supposed to turn the tide. And apparently it does. And it makes Merlin, who has been lying about being a magician this whole time, it makes him like a real magician because he's got the Cybertron powers and helps turn the tide of the battle. And he becomes the historic, legendary Merlin that we all know. And Anthony Hopkins is narrating this whole thing. Yeah, they dragged Anthony Hopkins into this. They keep getting Academy Award-winning actors to do these movies. I don't know how.
That's his own fault.
Money, yeah, and apparently filming these movies is apparently really fun. I say apparently way too much.
So go.
Like Frances McDormand did the 3rd one, and she claims that it's the most fun she's ever had making a movie. So I guess there's that.
I would like to. Hey, Xander, lean over for a quick second.
Yeah.
Would you read the first note here for what I have for Transformers?
Spoiler dislikes. Merlin, are you fucking with me? Cringiest lines from the kids.
Oh, well, that was that. 2 separate thoughts there.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, Merlin,
Oh, yeah.
are you fucking kidding me?
So
I'm not gonna lie, Xander. Your description of this movie is boring me
I
equally
know!
as much as the movie.
I know. So we go ahead. The events of the 4th movie. Mark Wahlberg lives. He's separated from his daughter and a guy who's half Irish half the time and not Irish the other half the time. He's apparently a fugitive because of the events of the fourth movie, Mark Wahlberg is, and he hides out in junkyards with the John Goodman Transformer and the Ken Watanabe Transformer, which confuses the fuck out of me because, like, they're from a different planet. Why would they know what a fucking samurai is? The Ken Watanabe Transformer is a samurai. I don't know why they would know what that is. And the John Goodman Transformer is a fat Transformer because of course he is. If you look at every voiceover John Goodman does, he's a fat guy.
All the Transformers throughout all 5 movies, at least the Autobots, are just some sort of stereotype.
Yeah. And there's a surprise Steve Buscemi Transformer who has the same exact design as the John Goodman one.
Why is Steve Buscemi even there? Were they trying to do...
It's a 4-minute cameo.
They probably just handed him a bag of cash to go in and record like 4 lines.
So in this 5th movie, Transformers are illegal, but they keep coming from space. It's the same legislation they passed in the 3rd movie, which they took away at the end of the 3rd movie, only to bring back again after what happened in the 4th movie. And there's like a bunch of kids, and when I first saw these kids, my first thought was discount Stranger Things. Because there was the fat kid with curly hair, there was the kid with glasses, there was the black kid, and there was the girl. And then there was another kid.
I just wanted to blow my brains out like right then and there.
The kids were so bad, and they were so pointless. It could have easily shaved about a half hour off this particular movie without the kids. And Star-Lord's mom shows up at some point. Laura Haddock, who plays Star-Lord's mom in Guardians of the Galaxy, she plays the girl who's actually Merlin's heir. It's important that Merlin's heir hold the staff to defeat the bad guys. At the end of the 4th one, Optimus Prime, he leaves Earth to go to Cybertron to kill it or something, or like do something. I don't know. So he gets to Cybertron, and there's this lady Transformer named Quintessa, I think. Galtessa. I don't know why I'm bothering to look it up.
Should we just go straight like through and spoil the entire movie because it's so
we already
forgettable?
got to her being Merlin's heir. It's a done deal.
Yeah,
it's not like anyone's actually gonna watch
Quintessa.
this.
Quintessa is her name, and she convinces Optimus Prime to follow her will and become Nemesis Prime and get the staff of Merlin and destroy Earth, which is also apparently Unicron.
Why was Optimus Prime such a pushover for her? He's there for 5 seconds, and she's like...
brain control.
And I thought it was hilarious that the first time we see Prime in this movie, he's floating through space, frozen and in a coma. Because at the end of the 4th movie, he rockets up to space, which is something he's never done in any of the other movies. He can fly, apparently. He goes into space like, I'm super awesome. I want to go to Cybertron and defend everything. And frozen. Guess you didn't think ahead there, Optimus Prime. Way to go. Way to go, hero. And he gets to Cybertron, which is like a tiny ship in comparison to like what they've described as a full planet. Is the ship Cybertron? I don't know. I was paying very close attention, and I still don't know. So, yeah, Optimus Prime becomes evil. He's Nemesis Prime now, and he's going to go back to Earth and get the staff and destroy Earth, which is apparently also Unicron, which is supposed to be a different Transformer ship.
Were there explosions, though?
That was the only thing I could hear over the sound of my own eyes rolling. Of course there were explosions.
Does that count as the soundtrack for Michael Bay? Just
sure.
things blowing up?
Anyway, Laura Haddock, Star-Lord's mom, the Merlin's heir, she is thrust into a situation with Mark Wahlberg against her will. Anthony Hopkins is also there. He's the last surviving member of this, of like the heirs to the Knights of the Round Table, which are called the Order of the Witwickens.
Oh, Anthony Hopkins,
you've
fallen so far.
Okay, here's one thing I did notice, unfortunately. The Order of the Witwickens, it sounds an awful lot like the Shia LaBeouf character from the first 3 movies, Sam Witwicky.
Did you notice that when they do a close-up of the photograph of Shia LaBeouf's face?
Yeah, it's a blinking
That's a great Easter egg.
It's a blinking you miss it moment, but it's there. there's two different montages when they're talking about the Order of the Wiccans, and he's in a photograph in one of those two montages. Really fast moment, but it happens. And it's sort of trying to tease like maybe he'll be back in the next movie, which I God to hope not.
I don't think he's ever getting hired by Hollywood again after everything he's done.
No, he's still getting
not.
work. He's still getting work. He works just fine. I know he has expressed disdain for the Transformers movies, so he might not do that again. But they established that he is still very much a part of this.
But overall, everyone's just completely checked out on this series.
They have.
What are you talking about? You're not excited for the Bumblebee spin-off set in the 80s starring John Cena?
What was the what was the name
of
of that character, the robot that was alongside Anthony Hopkins?
Cogman?
Quinoa, apparently.
Cogman. So the first time he even appears, what does he say? Oh, hey, that thing we've been waiting for 1,600 years is happening.
Is that the exact
That's
line?
like basically what he
Yeah.
said.
And he's voiced by one of the main characters from Downton Abbey.
Again, bags of cash.
even the characters in this movie are like, oh, what are we even doing?
Can we stop for a minute to talk about the Suicide Squad ripoff title cards for all the Decepticons that no one gives two shits about?
What the F?
It's like Megatron is
Here's
running
all
his
your
own, like,
favorite
Doom Squad.
characters.
And they never appear in the movie again.
Something else.
They're
And
gone after that.
One gets beheaded in like 2 seconds in that junkyard fight.
Oh yeah, in the fourth one, Megatron sort of comes back as like a clone named Galvatron, and he appears in this movie for maybe 5 seconds or something.
As Megatron again, which also doesn't make sense.
They dropped the whole Galvatron thing. They roped an incredible French actor named Omar Sy into this as a Transformer who's French. And they talk about the French accent. They spend way too much time on it. It's like, I can't do this. I'm not doing this on purpose. I have to have this accent. Like, why?
Because they don't have a French stereotype one.
There you go. Boom.
They're running out of stereotypes.
Going back to the stereotype thing.
I mean,
Was there anything
Have we
that
had yet a Mexican conquistador stereotype?
he has to have a sombrero? Maybe it has like grenades on
Does he
it
turn
or
into a
something?
taco truck?
I don't think
That would be great.
I don't think we've had
I'm
that
back in, baby. Transformers 6,
And-
sombreros away.
And of course, the two leads, there's Mark Wahlberg and Laura Haddock, are given a forced love story because they're both hot.
Oh my god, just kill me.
There's no actual basis for why they should feel like they should be together. They're just both thrust into the same shitty situation.
Because he's the last knight.
He takes his shirt off and he's got a beautiful set of abs.
Peter of Heart or something.
Oh yeah, that's another thing. Early on in the movie, he finds this Transformer inside of a spaceship that's like dying, and the dying Transformer hands him a coin, which then attaches itself to Mark Wahlberg and won't leave, and it just sort of slithers all over his body, and then eventually manifests as a sword, which he uses to attack a Transformer. A Transformer takes a Transformer-sized sword, does a big old downswing, and Mark Wahlberg, with his human-sized sword, stops it. I'm like, I'm sorry. You're a fleshy, squishy human, and that's a Transformer. You lose.
One of the biggest problems with this series overall, they tried to make the humans way too important and way too powerful.
Yeah.
It should have just been like 90% Transformers, like 10% humans.
These movies are 2.5 hours plus each. They don't need to be that long.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you this. What if I told you that they're coming out with a new animated Transformers movie?
What,
If it's
like,
not from these people, then cool.
completely animated,
Completely animated.
like sequel.
I think like hand-drawn. Like the old ones. Would you
Is
be
that real?
Would you be into that?
Is that real?
Yes, but here's the catch. It's set in this Michael Bay universe.
Okay, no.
You
No,
kind
if
of got
it's-
me, but you kind of don't.
If it was completely separate from all of this, then yeah. But if it's in this universe, then no.
This is happening, people. I think next year.
Was there anything you guys liked?
Best
about
animated picture, Uranus Awards 2018. Calling it right now.
I did give it one moment. That stupid thing with the sword I was talking about, I it was done in slow-mo, and Mark Wahlberg
We
looks
need
cool
to
doing
we need
it,
to add
so.
a best stereotype award just for the Transformers.
Best stereotype or just most obvious stereotype?
Classical stereotype. Like, goddamn those Irish type of deal.
Funniest racial caricature.
I mean, at this point, it's just they get what they're doing, and they're just milking that shit. Like, in the fourth movie,
What are they
give a
milking?
nod.
It didn't even make any money, and they're still pressing ahead.
As long
These movies
as
make shit tons
The
of
Transformers train has no brakes.
money. They make so much money. But in the fourth movie, they say, like, just a bunch of shitty reboots and
Was
sequels.
there anything?
They know what they're doing.
Anything you guys liked?
Yeah, just that slow motion moment where Mark Wahlberg has a sword. It's 1 second long, and I nominated the movie for that just to give it something.
the CGI and the way they move is like the one good thing about this movie.
I liked that it had cars.
Was
yeah.
there cars in it? I couldn't
Remember-
see through all the smoke and fire.
Remember the ads for the fourth movie and how like they were banking on the Dinobots being the big selling point, and then
Yes.
we get like 2 seconds of them in that movie. Well, now they're little bitches. Mark Wahlberg yells at them like they're bad dogs.
Yeah,
and they
what
just do. And there's tiny ones that came out of freaking nowhere.
Where did the babies come from?
I don't know. 1/2 star.
I'm a very big gearhead. The Fast and Furious films, as terrible as they are, my guilty pleasure movies.
Fine.
I fucking love those.
Are we doing that one? Are we doing the 8th one this?
No,
Okay, that's what I thought.
but
then why are we doing
that
comic book?
and Mark Wahlberg were the only redeeming parts of the movie. I'm not saying Mark Wahlberg's a good actor.
Oh, he is
I
a
just,
good actor.
for some
when
reason, have a guilty pleasure for Mark Wahlberg.
he is a good actor. He just doesn't always do good movies.
He plays the same awkward character in every movie.
I loved
Awkward.
I loved him in The Departed and The Fighter.
Just a frustrated guy from Boston yelling at everything.
He does that well when he does it well.
You can't just set fires in the house. You can't just not bring me beer. You can't just not be fixing cars.
He had a
I don't wanna
transformer
insult-
get him a beer.
I don't want to insult you, but I hope you get Lou Gehrig's disease. What? No.
He'll always
Love
be
that happening.
Marky Mark.
I love that
That's
happening
it.
so much.
All right.
Should
One 1/2 star.
Yeah, I gotta go with a half star. It's so terrible.
I don't know why, but I gave it a star.
Cars and Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
There you go. That gets it a full star for you. Fine.
A star.
I mean, I'll give Michael Bay one thing.
What's that?
Despite all the explosions, they're really good explosions, and a lot of people don't spend the money on that kind of practical effects.
My brother's a student at NYU, and he spoke to a professor who once said, and this is a direct quote from this professor, "I knew Michael Bay when he was young, and he was the most promising photographer I had ever met." So Bay can get a shot. He can do that well.
Would you give him the 3x3 award then?
What's that one again?
Just camera work.
Oh, I would for the Benghazi movie he did. Probably not this one because it's one of those super quick edit movies that just makes me want to throw up.
Yeah, I like the aerial shots though, I guess. Like, it's not super poorly shot. I don't know. I'm reaching here. I'm really reaching.
There you go. There you go.
Can we give it a This Needs to Die award?
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Skip the where is this going? Would you recommend it?
We all know where this
Please,
is going.
just stop.
This is going too far is where it's going.
I know.
It's already gone too far.
I know Wahlberg's done. He has specifically said he's done with
Did
the
he?
Transformers movies. Yeah, he said that. So they're gonna have another guy lead the movies, and it's gonna be more shit that's exploding, more objects like the Trident from Pirates of the Caribbean that come out of nowhere that need to be found to save the world. More explosions, more racism, more butt shots.
So let me go off on a little tangent here,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Back in 2012, right? When I was but a wee boy.
But a wee boy.
Young.
The-
A little Zakky boy.
Summer of 2012, right? I go with my friend and I watched The Dark Knight. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
Sure.
most people would say, "Oh man, this is a great movie." But I saw something else in that movie. What I saw was, "Oh shit. This movie is too good that everyone is going to try and rip it off and it's going to become something terrible." And it did. After The Dark Knight, everyone wanted to make these grounded, gritty, cheap movies, right? We got Grounded Spider-Man, Grounded Fantastic Four, blah, 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 right?
Yeah.
Now, let's take a look at something else, right? Marvel Cinematic Universe, right?
Okey-dokey.
In case you guys aren't familiar, because of the success of Marvel Cinematic Universe, every company is ripping this off. Not just DC, but Universal is building a cinematic universe of monster movies.
The Mummy.
The place that I'm going with this is Transformers is building a shared Transformers universe. And oh my god, I do not want this to happen.
Oh man, wait.
We are getting spin-offs of several different characters in several different time periods, and more sequels, and animated films, and oh my god.
They said there's gonna be like 14 more.
For where this is going, G.I. Joe crossover with Transformers. They've
Please
already done
don't.
it in the comics.
Please don't.
Let's just make like
How more America fuck yeah can you get?
Please
that.
don't.
We can get that America, fuck yeah.
It's just shitty movies that make rich people richer.
Snake Eyes meets Optimus Prime or Bumblebee.
I don't want
Please don't.
G.I. Joe crossover. Let's do it.
Stop. It's already dead.
We're gonna go for making the worst, most boring explosion movie possible.
Folks, this isn't even the worst movie that we're about to talk about here.
You heard it here, G.I. Joe.
Let's
I'm just
move on.
saying.
Let's move on to the last movie. Netflix's Death Note movie. Okay.
Xander, I can see a single tear rolling out of your eye like an Indian who just saw litter.
I'm about there.
Tell you what, Zakk, synopsis, go.
Plot twist. Mike, what was the story about?
No. I got it. I got it.
No.
I-
Mike needs to
He
do
did
this.
too. I'll take
This is Mike's job.
I don't care.
Mike serves two purposes on this podcast: to tell us what it was about
No.
and to look pretty.
I mean, you got me there.
Do you care if I take this one?
I
would
can't,
like to.
Mike, let's share
this
it.
is- this
Let's
is-
share.
Okay.
Fine.
Solidarity.
Solidarity.
Okay. It's live action.
It's it takes place in a high school in Seattle.
All right.
Why?
Let's do this. I'll ask you guys a series of questions, and you tell me the answers.
Let's do that.
Go for it.
Okay.
Mike, you can go first.
Was this based on a Japanese property?
Yes.
Yep.
Was there any indication of that?
Bits and pieces.
Maybe?
Little bits and pieces.
Sort of?
The very bare minimum.
Where does this movie take place?
Seattle.
What? Yeah, Washington? America? What?
Yeah, they specifically say Seattle in the movie.
It is specifically Seattle.
Really?
I don't even know.
Any more questions?
All right, so
All right.
Go for it.
It takes place in a high school in Seattle. The main character is a young boy with blonde highlights who helps other people cheat on his homework by the name of Light Turner. He, one day, while sitting outside, randomly finds that a black notebook has fallen out of the sky next to him that reads Death Note on it. And by the way, I have my very own Death Note right here in the studio,
you'll see it on Instagram.
which you can check out on Instagram. Follow us there at Uranus Awards. He reads the rules of this notebook when he's in detention and finds that the person whose name is written in this death note shall die. And then a death god by the name of Ryuk appears to him and forces him to use the death note to prove its value and its worth. So he takes a random bully that was beating him up earlier and causes him to die via the death note, and he screams like a little girl and finds that it's real. And he partners up with this bored cheerleader by the name of Mia.
Are we jumping straight into spoilers?
Why the fuck not? We might as
Damn,
well.
out the fucking window.
We might as well.
That's cold, man.
I'm very angry at this movie.
So there's like a lot of rules to this book.
There's
right?
a lot of rules. I have all of them here in this Death Note, but
Doesn't it have all the rules in it?
I thought it was
every
pretty
single one.
good.
All of the movie has new rules and it changes some rules. But the basic premise: if you write someone's name in this Death Note, they die.
Is it as good as the source material? No.
Not even a
But
little.
was it bad on its own?
Yes.
I don't think so.
Yeah, I kind of liked it a little bit.
Why?
I wouldn't go that far, but it wasn't bad.
Yes, it was. It was very, very bad.
It wasn't bad.
It was very bad. It's the worst film that has happened this year.
I appreciate William Dafoe
Wait.
as
Weren't you there for Valerian?
I was there for Valerian.
Okay, so what?
I saw
What are
Valerian.
you talking about?
And until I saw Death Note, that was the worst picture of the year.
over Transformers.
Yeah.
You're gonna look me straight in the eyes and say that you would rather rewatch Transformers than Death Note.
I'm not going to lie and say that part of it isn't personal, but yeah.
No, it sounds extremely personal because it wasn't that bad of a movie.
I get it though. It'd be like Power Rangers. Like I love Power Rangers so much, and Xander he really likes the Death Note anime.
It's one of the
And the
greatest
manga.
pieces of fiction ever written. You know, the original villain, Light Yagami, is one of the finest villains ever written, and they just did not do him justice.
But he was a fine villain. Was his character very different from the source material? Yeah.
Here's the
His personality was entirely different, but he was still a good villain.
Here's the thing: change only works if it improves.
If Xander approves.
If it, yeah, change only works if I approve. Change only works if it improves. This does not improve. He starts off as a complicated character with a very basic dead mom backstory.
Yeah, he's an emo kid.
What made Light Yagami so interesting was that he was like a perfect schoolboy. He was popular and he was suave and he was calculated and he was incredibly intelligent.
So are you saying that if we have a pissed off emo teenager that does not make it for a good villain?
Not in this story.
But it makes sense in
It's-
Star Wars.
That's not...
Which is pretty much the same thing, right?
Wars
Pissed
is-
off emo kid starts killing people and changes the whole political climate.
The Star Wars prequels are terrible too, but that's not what we're talking about.
Dad, you just don't understand me.
We have had so many brooding pissant emo kids as villains. I'm tired of it. I
true.
wanted the real Light Yagami. I wanted the brilliant, calculated Kira that is one step ahead of every single thing that is trying to go against him.
They could have added like another half hour and expanded the character.
Why not just set it up like for a more direct sequel? If we're already in spoilers, I'm just gonna say it.
They've announced that they're planning a sequel.
Did they confirm
Yeah,
that?
they want to.
Because that was one thing that I felt weird about, was the ending was this really ambiguous way of like, they could do a sequel, but if this turns out really bad, then they don't have to do a sequel.
Yeah.
Which I guess is playing it safe,
It was left ambiguous.
but
Here's another thing. I absolutely hate the casting of Light. I hate Nat Wolff. He's a terrible actor.
Yeah,
and
he
he
was
is the
right for the
worst
role.
choice for this, I would think.
How about let's do a little test here.
Yeah.
In the vacuum of the movie, like by itself, try to like separate yourself from the anime and the manga.
He's not
the
gonna
source
do it.
material.
I can do that.
How was the movie?
Separated from the anime and manga, it was basic. It was dull. It was confusing and at the same time too freaking simple.
Was the Death Note like even enough of a catch for the plot to like make you interested?
Like just the Death Note itself being a notebook that kills people.
Yeah, I mean like the concept for
Well,
the
I
story.
mean the concept.
no,
is what
you're
drew
talking
me.
about Light didn't translate well. I thought L didn't translate well. I just think that that's one of those characters that's
No,
just
he didn't.
really hard to do in live action, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, Light's also one of the best characters ever in the original
Like,
anime. He's one of the most popular anime characters ever, and
I'm fine with L being this obsessive, awkward detective,
which
but
is what he is. But
as soon as he actually like in live action jumped on the chair squatting, I was like, all right, this is
I mean,
this doesn't translate well to live action. This is a little ridiculous.
It's a little ridiculous. Yeah, there's a reason he does it. It's because his cognitive brain works 40% better when he does that. I liked the casting of L. I love Lakeith Stanfield. I've followed his career just accidentally ever since his debut film, Short Term 12. He's great, and I thought he was a good choice for this. And given the fucking terrible script, he didn't do as bad as some of the other actors in this movie.
It's one of those things where I think anybody could have done it.
But he broke character. The script was inconsistent with L's basis. He didn't stick with his own mantra.
Yeah, they keep like the basics where it's like he's eating candy or he does like weird mannerisms. Like,
but they like
And like the reason
for the
Ellen-
context of a live action movie, don't you think they could have left out just the squatting even, and you would have still had the same character, if not a better character?
I wouldn't have minded if they did leave out this the
If anything, just
squatting.
give him a different quirk that translates better onto live action.
They kept his obsession with sweet treats, which
And
Okay,
that's,
even that bothered me though, because
they
when he was eating them, he would like grab a fistful and drop them all over. Like,
that was very much not L. That
Just
was not. They also
just eat them.
They
That's
also
fine.
added a little thing with that. They said that his like gummy bears were full of insulin to keep him awake and to keep his mind sharp.
When did they say that?
When he was first eating the gummy bears inside the limousine.
Yeah.
That's when they said.
Oh, I
his,
totally missed that.
He says
Yeah.
something about like the insulin spike will help you like think or
yes,
something.
exactly. I don't know why they needed that. Like L's brilliance comes from his intense training at a special academy for specific detectives that remain hidden throughout the world, helping solve various crimes, and he's one of them. And I just felt like everything that was him was built from that, and that was easy enough to accept.
I think they messed up because they tried to just cram too much into this one movie.
It's a longer series. There's only like one season, but it's like
37
30
episodes
Yeah.
total.
Honestly, you know what I think would have worked better is had they done a TV series. Done a live action TV series. I'd be fine with the Seattle setting and the
Like
casting.
Daredevil or Luke Cage or something. That would have been pretty good.
Let's talk about the whitewashing, for example. I didn't mind that this was Americanized and used white people and black people as the main characters. I didn't care about that. I was very interested in this movie from long ago, back when they announced it was happening in 2008, when Shane Black was in charge of the whole thing.
Wait, what about L though? He's not. Well,
yeah, like I said, they use white and black people.
Still counts as whitewashing.
I'm not calling whitewashing on this because I thought it was a good idea. The Japanese made 3 live-action Death Note movies. 2. We got those, and they were fine.
There was 2.
No, there was 3. There was Death Note, the last name, and there was L Change the World, which is a spin-off. It was a little weird, but it was kind of cool at the same time. And yeah, the Japanese gave us the full Japanese cast Death Note live-action movies, so I don't think calling whitewashing on this particular Death Note movie is fair.
but is it something that needs to be Americanized, or
It
is
doesn't need to be Americanized. When I heard that Shane Black was in charge of the project, I thought it was going to be cool. Now, I'll even admit, as embarrassing as this is, I actually tracked down his production company and sent him audition videos because I wanted to play L so freaking badly. I will fully admit to that.
So there's actually 4 Japanese live action movies
No
and
kidding.
a Japanese miniseries.
Is that right? Holy crap.
Oh, is that like I'm probably mixing this up, an OVA or something?
Of what?
Yeah, they who did that? Helsing, like they did special longer episode-ish movies.
I don't know. I mean, all I can tell you is TV miniseries, 11 episodes, came out in 2015.
Gotcha.
Oh, okay, that's why, because I haven't been keeping updates on new things like that with Death Note.
It just felt like they made this movie like in a panic almost, like, oh, let's include Light's girlfriend, but it doesn't make sense for her to be a celebrity, so we'll just make her a cheerleader because that's close enough.
Yeah.
And we don't really have time to include another death god, so let's just have her share the one that we actually have the budget to do CGI for. And
See, what they did, I think, was make a brand new character entirely with Mia, instead of having Misa Amane be in this show. I think if they do a sequel, they're gonna have Misa and Rem come in the whole thing.
I can see that though, that they need to do it in a rush. I'm pretty sure, because after I watched it, I noticed that Death Note was, like the original show, was on Netflix, and I mean, I might be wrong,
Still
but
there.
I don't think it was there too much earlier than the movie.
Oh, it's been Death Note has been there for a long time. I've watched it frequently.
Oh, okay,
over the
my
years.
bad.
what'd you think of Willem Dafoe as Ryuk?
That when I heard that was happening, I was really excited. And he didn't do anything I didn't think he was going to do. He did exactly what I thought he was going to do.
I thought
Yeah.
the voice was I think for me he looked a little weird. I guess I was expecting him to be more a little thinner and more pale,
a little
but
taller, maybe.
I mean, he was like 8 feet tall, so
I
don't know if you want him taller, but
the slenderness of Ryuk is supposed to be kind of.
as far as the voice
Fixated
acting
upon.
goes, I mean, I'll give him best voice actor.
Do we have that award?
Yeah, voiceover work.
Oh,
check it.
So
I don't think there was a lot of
So
like
we do.
wide shots of him though. That's
No,
maybe
they weren't.
what-
They kept him in the shadows a lot.
That's
Yeah.
because Netflix does not like to spend a lot of money on CGI.
Yeah, that's one way that I thought it was. I mean,
I wasn't.
I would have liked to see more of Ryuk, but like the way they did it was okay in my book at least.
I kind of liked Margaret Qualley as Mia. I like her as an actress. I again have accidentally followed her career without even trying. She was in Palo Alto and
Were there
The Nice
any
Guys.
actors or actresses in this film whose careers you did not follow?
Let me think. What's his name who was on Boardwalk Empire? And,
Shea Wiggum?
Shea Wiggum. Yeah, I love that guy. Willem Dafoe. Love that
guy's
guy.
Yeah,
Typecast to hell.
He
As soon as I saw him, I'm like, this guy's a cop.
he's a yeah. Well,
He only plays a cop.
Light's father's a cop. Yeah, so
that happens a lot though.
Typecasting, unfortunately.
Well,
The-
typecasting and
besides Nat Wolff, which is just fucking terrible, they cast this movie pretty well. It's it's a strong cast, and I hate
Would
to
you
say
want a sequel?
No, not this way. Not with this director, and not with Nat Wolff.
I'm not over it yet. I want to see a sequel.
yeah, I think
I'd watch one, maybe two more.
I think the fans are gonna get their way though because I do. No offense to Xander, but I find Death Note fans are a little obsessive.
Okay, so
Of course we are.
it
This is
seems
one of
like
the greatest pieces of fiction ever.
it seems like we're kind of getting to the end of this
Yeah.
episode, right? So I want to ask one broad question.
Yes.
Do you think that they can ever successfully adapt an anime property into an American film and people will like it?
They can. They just don't.
There must be a good one. It's not like this has never happened.
I
right?
think, honestly, unfortunately, I think this is so far the best we have.
animated to live action.
It's people are always going to complain about whitewashing. They're always going to complain that it's not like the source material. I don't think anyone will ever be fully satisfied.
You can never. You can't please everybody. That's the simple fact.
Yeah.
This hit me hard in the wrong way, so I definitely disagree. I don't know what the best American anime film is. They're all pretty fucking bad.
I mean, in comparison, Ghost in the Shell, like I thought that was decent. I'm not saying it was amazing, but I thought it was decent.
I think all these movies, with the exception of Transformers, were good movies. Not great, but they were
Power Rangers was good.
they were enjoyable. They were
Yeah.
it was a fun time. You know,
Power Rangers is something that's been established in like American culture for a while, though. It's not like something they need
Yeah.
to transfer over. Would you recommend this movie?
No,
No, it's true.
absolutely not. In zero ways would I recommend this. I would recommend the anime series, and that's it.
If you got some time to kill, you got nothing else to watch, I say give it a go. But don't make it a priority.
Did you notice the poorly placed 80s love songs during like people's death scenes?
I love those 80s love
What was
songs.
that about, man?
While they're falling from the Ferris wheel, I
You're
thought
my lady. What the fuck was that?
I hated it. I loved it, and I just thought it was like
the-
so weird all at once.
The Ferris wheel, I totally forgot. Okay, so I'm sure you guys remember from the credits they show all the green screen.
Yeah.
It's like they saved their entire CGI budget just for that ending and then forgot all about Ryuk, and they're like, oh wait, we gotta make this CGI monster. What are we gonna do?
Yeah, and they established.
Find the cheapest company possible.
Here's how they were preparing for the sequel. They established that people had tried to write Ryuk's name in the Death Note, and Ryuk was like, "Good luck. The farthest anyone's ever gotten was 2 letters."
How hard can it be to spell it? Just like try all kinds of different names.
I think it was implying
It was
that
implied that he
they-
gets to them before they finish.
Yeah, they
He's a death god. So
Oh, I thought people were literally just illiterate.
no. But like,
K
like if,
Q. Damn.
I could sit here all day and tell you what they changed from the anime that made it worse, but I'm not going to. That's just gonna frustrate me.
What would you have like changed?
A lot. Very, very
He just
many
wouldn't
things.
have made it.
Very,
Is there
very many things.
Any like critical
I wouldn't have
points,
changed
though?
any of the Death Note rules. First of all, like for example, the whole burning the page erases the death part. No, that I wouldn't have had that. If anyone gives up ownership of the Death Note, they're supposed to forget everything that they did with the Death Note. I would have kept all of the original rules. I would have kept Light's personality. I would have kept L's personality on the straight and narrow, because he's very interesting because he doesn't break ever. Like, the only time he ever really broke and got scared and got freaked out was when he heard the word Shinigami, meaning death god. And
they never said that word. They only
Well,
said
I didn't
death
expect
god.
them to. I didn't expect them to say Shinigami, because it just means death god, so that's fine. But, like, L is supposed to be a perfect, straight and narrow, brilliant detective that never breaks. And Light is supposed to be so smart and so calculated that he only goes into any manic modes or any weird happy modes if he absolutely has to. He's doing perfect subterfuge. He's lying to everybody to make sure he gets what he needs to get done. This particular Light was just such a little bitch.
Xander's love letter Death Note.
Written in the Death Note.
I'm sorry,
Right?
it's the same shit Nat Wolff always does in his stupid movies. He's a quirky little awkward teen, and he has a stupid emo dead mom backstory. Light's supposed to have like a perfect family. He's supposed to be a perfect student.
Because having a dead parent does not give you the right to be emotional.
Of course it does, but
It was changed.
It's so basic. It's so obvious. Light is interesting because he's supposed to be on the surface a perfect person, and he's just pure freaking evil.
Should we have done a Death Note episode?
Just a full Death Note episip. I'd have broken all
Just
the
leave
mics.
Xander alone in a room and just let him bitch.
All right, bye guys. I'll see you later.
I think if I keep talking, we will be here for a long time. So I'm just gonna call it right there and give it on this podcast. It's my very first 0-star movie.
0.
That's
It's my first.
That's ridiculous.
my first 0 stars. I'm sorry.
That is so immature.
even with-
you're supposed to be unbiased.
I'm being
You've given
perfectly
nothing
honest.
but bias. The fuck's wrong with you?
You have to give it something.
You have to give it something.
Half a star.
There were good qualities about it. You can't sit there and say, "Oh, the whole rest of the cast was great," and I really liked the voice acting, and the CGI was okay, but 0 stars because it's not like my favorite cartoon. No, fuck you. Give it at least a star. Give it at least a star.
I'm not doing what you tell me.
Half a star.
It had a strong cast with a very weak script that didn't complement any of them. It didn't work as a movie. It didn't work as an adaptation. It bored the shit out of me. It blew my mind with its stupidity. So no, it didn't work. I don't care that Willem Dafoe was in it. He did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, be the creepy guy.
Did anyone expect Willem Dafoe to have like a Mickey Mouse voice in this movie? No. So yeah, it's personal.
It's personal.
It's personal, but I'm giving it 0 stars.
I give it a 3.
Give it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to say 3 too. It was. I enjoyed watching it, but it was fairly average.
What are you nominated for?
Award.
Yeah.
I'm gonna
Let's
say
see.
voice work for sure. Because that is Willem Dafoe's voice, but it just worked for the character.
Yeah, I guess.
I thought it was a good fit. You know,
The only reason I would say it's hard to give it that is because it was so predictable.
You did nothing you didn't expect him to do.
Yeah,
but it fit.
Yeah.
That's what it's about. It's
Sure,
whatever.
Do you buy this voice coming out of this character? I did.
You buy Shea Wickham as a cop.
You can't buy him as anything else at this point.
How about
That's true.
most rockin' music? You're my lady.
Oh my god.
Yes, absolutely.
God damn.
Shea Wickham could literally like be in Scrubs and be like, "I'm a nurse," and be like, "That motherfucker's still a cop."
In Boardwalk Empire, in
He's
Agent
hiding a gun
Carter,
somewhere.
He was a cop. Hell, even in Kong, he was basically a cop.
In Agent Carter, he was her boss.
Yeah. What was he in Kong? He was just like a mercenary or something, or a soldier.
He's like a lieutenant, I think, or something.
That's as close to a cop as you can get, I guess.
I mean, it
being
wasn't.
one.
It's not true to the source material, but complex villain. Because Light is still complicated. He has his reasons.
Hell, Mia
I'll
was,
give you that.
Mia was a more complex villain than him.
She was just like batshit
She was
crazy
just a
though.
psycho bitch.
Yeah,
She had the only thing that was a semblance of interesting to me.
she's like. I mean, you don't even really. I guess she was bullied a little bit.
She was more like
so
light
she had a
than
reason.
light.
Oh man, one award. I want to hear you give this one.
You're not gonna hear it. It doesn't get anything.
This is
God
the
damn
adult equivalent of I'm taking my toys out of the sandbox and you can't play with them. Oh man, we even have Tyler laughing.
Wonderful.
Oh,
I'm sticking to my guns.
most memorable moment. The Ferris wheel. There we go.
I want to say the most memorable moment is when she approaches him and goes, "Hey, what's that?" And he's like, "Oh, watch me kill some people." I really appreciate that.
He's just so forward with it. What
Kids,
was
if you're
up
out there listening, nothing gets girls like randomly killing people.
with- Oh, man.
Hate you guys.
All joking aside.
Oh, man. What a
Well,
shame.
That brings us to the end of this podcast. Thank fucking God.
It was a rough road.
Yeah. Join
I
us.
know what you're talking about. I had a blast.
Join us next week for the return of Max Joseph as we discuss M. Night Shyamalan's Split.
Where can they find us?
You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at Uranus Awards. You can support this channel on Patreon and Indiegogo. It would really help us a lot, guys.
I think one of those campaigns is ending soon, though, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
We have
Which one?
The Indiegogo. Patreon is ongoing, but
Indiegogo. We
So
have like
if you're
14 days left.
debating, if you're on the edge, you're giving us some money, give it now.
And I believe we are actually close to our goal. You guys have been amazing about that, so please
Please push us over that edge.
share the Indiegogo page, tell your friends, share the podcast. It's been great.
We appreciate
Yeah,
you
this-
listening.
this
We
all the
love what we're doing here.
All the champagne bottles and
And-
hookers that we get in the studio are not cheap.
And when you support on Indiegogo, it's got a couple of perks. You get to actually put your opinion forth on a couple of things too. So keep that in mind.
We didn't have any shout-outs, but I want to do some shout-outs. Let's do it.
Do you have something?
No, I'm just saying. Fans, hit us up. Communicate.
Even if you don't want to shout out, just let us know on social media if you guys think that Mike
Exactly.
should be given the plot of every movie.
From this point on, I'm fine.
I mean, we don't care. He's going to do it anyways, but, let us know what you think.
I'm very interested to see him talk about Split next week.
Prepare yourself.
we can, we'll each do a personality.
You.
Oh, there we go.
We'll do 4 different description of Split from 4 different perspectives.
All right.
Oh, man.
Mike, send us off.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. And this is Going In Deep, Going Dark.